that is underneath our thoughts and our feelings. And our thoughts and our feelings and all of those things cause our behaviors and our choices, which is end up usually in behaviors. Our behaviors with other people's behaviors is what causes situations to be good or not good. And then there are lessons that come from that. In order to figure it all out, you've almost got to take the path backward through everything. You start with what lesson did you learn? You look at what interaction or behaviors happened between the people. Then you look at what thoughts and feelings were under it. But if you don't go underneath that and get into the values, beliefs, and opinions underneath that, and then the programming underneath that, you will never change what the thoughts and feelings are, and thusly what the behaviors are, thusly what happens. You have to go underneath all of it. So I love that question, Chemical Soup TV. Thank you for bringing it. And we've got chocolate in the house. Ollie, welcome to the stage.
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me properly?
Properly and coming in hot. Or not hot, but coming in.
Amazing.
You're there.
Because
You're there.
I have two surprises for you. The first
Uh-oh.
surprise is that I'm already prepared for Christmas. I have already my Christmas
Christmas
sweater.
has come to Europe.
Exactly.
Christmas has come to Europe. Ollie's in his and now
Yeah.
do they do ugly sweater things over there?
Well, do you
Do
think
they
that it's
call
an
do they
ugly?
have like contests that they call ugly sweater contests there?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
I
see, yeah, here it's a thing. It's this ugly sweater contest things. And I that's one of those things where pop culture Stacy goes, "No, no, no. I don't need to do pop culture that way." But I do love the sweater. It's nice. And
and I have a
you look
second surprise for
festive
you.
and you look classy.
Thank you. And I have a big announcement for you because since many years, you know probably that I'm in Belgium, and that's the country of chocolate. But since last year, in May 2024, I've been, or 2025, I don't recall, but I think it was 2024. I was meeting a friend, and she gave me, this is just a little part. She gave me a piece of chocolate, but it's not chocolate to eat. Although I try, you see this like I try, but this is a chocolate to grit, to
Too great.
like cheese, to make hot chocolate.
Oh,
And since she offered me that, it's 99% from Trinidad and Tobago. Since that particular day, I officially declare that the best chocolate in the world is not from Belgium. The best chocolate in the world is from Trinidad and Tobago because we
I was
don't
gonna say,
grow.
is that like blasphemy to say that the best
Yeah,
chocolate's not from Belgium?
no, I have to admit, but because we just export them, but initially the cacao is not from
Uh-huh.
Belgium. Probably in few years with climate change when it's going to be 40, 45 degrees, Celsius maybe. But until then, it's outside. And it's really, it's amazing
So the cacao
99%.
from Trinidad and Tobago is the best chocolate apparently.
Yeah, that's it. That's my claim. As a Belgian, that's my claim.
Well, you guys heard it on Show Me Your Nuts first. The best chocolate is from TNT in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ollie, I hope you have amazing holidays. I know you guys aren't, obviously here in the States, we're celebrating a holiday this week.
Mhm.
Um, and as a native person, it's a celebration, but it's also it's not a celebration for us because it's kind of like well, to me, Columbus Day is not a celebration. I call it Invasion Day, and I
Mm.
wear all black that day
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the discussion of Columbus finding this continent and causing the beginnings of colonization means that some of the people that I come from were subjugated and colonized then. So
Mhm.
to me, it's like Invasion Day. Now, Thanksgiving,
Mm,
yeah, there's the whole, like, we grew up as kids here, we grew up as kids learning about Thanksgiving, and we dress as pilgrims and Indians, and we don't
mm,
know, we I don't think we really grasped what that meant, especially, in the suburbs of the US. Um, we didn't realize that it was native folks teaching the immigrants how to survive so that they would survive, because we cared about other humans' survival. We wanted
mm,
other humans to survive. We
mm.
not realizing that the other humans who survived were going to colonize us and cause us to die. And that's the short
Exactly.
and the kind of whatever. And it's uh I mean, we don't have time travel as it could be yet. We do have timeline work for sure. Um
Mm,
and just yeah, timeline work. Anybody wants to know what timeline work is, let me know. That is what I
mm,
do. But time travel, I haven't figured out yet. And I
mm,
don't know if any of us have completely where we could go back and change the course of history. And to be honest, in a way, do we want to? Because lessons come from those big events also.
mm,
There's plenty of big events in our world where uh, as humans, as human beings, which we all are, I don't care where you're from, um, that we, because of our histories and the things that we learn,
mm.
then hopefully that causes us as human beings to level up
Yes.
as we learn more. And I think things like technology actually are important pieces of it, because without certain technologies, there wouldn't be somebody here sitting in Missouri in the United States and someone from Belgium on the same screen discussing things. And it wouldn't be the
Exactly.
same as us writing letters to each other 100 years ago. It just wouldn't be the same way of, because we wouldn't have the nonverbals. I wouldn't notice
E-
that you just now shook your head. You wouldn't have Trinidad and Tobago chocolate, quite likely.
Yeah,
You might
exactly.
not have that. Um,
Yeah. I have three things to share because you remind me that recently I've been witnessing the passing of the oldest survivor of a massacre in 1921. I don't know precisely her name, probably Violetta, but I'm not sure. And she
mhm.
passed away at 111 years old. And so it's about remembering. Then
Yes.
something that is, apologize for the imbalance, something that at school, my French teacher taught me French, but also critical thinking. And I read
Mm,
a lot of books like Brave New World, watching Metropolis, and one book that exists in English, translated in French, L'un jour au soleil, in English, To Spoil the Sun. I really recommend
mm,
anyone. It's not to me a famous known book, but it's from Joyce Rockwood, Rockwood, and it's
mhm,
about a fictitious story in the 15th century of an Amerindian woman, and they were talking about the an illness. I think it was the monkeypox, but I'm not sure. But it was an illness that was from the people invading South
mhm.
and North America.
Yeah.
And so I loved so much this book because as a young child, I was 11, 12 years old. It was like critical thinking. He brought us lots of books that were also very challenging, like books of a young sister talking about the illness of her elder sister, the leukemia, all these kind
Mm,
of stories. And for me, it's about deciding awareness. Like when you have to, where you talk about thoughts, behaviors, habits. When we want to change, we have to be aware first. And so
mhm.
either we
Yes.
are aware ourselves, but most of the time it's people around us. that are making us aware, because we are in our painting. We really cannot really see the full
I
picture
love
of
that. We're
our
in our own
painting.
painting. Yeah, we're in the
Yeah,
painting. We can't see out, and
yeah.
we have to be able to see out of it. And we've got to be able to see the rest of the world is like a mirror to us. And once we become aware that that is the case, where like one example I like to give is you're driving along, you're in the car, you're driving, and you get mad because somebody cuts you off in traffic. Well, what you're really mad at is not always the person who cut you off, but you're mad because you have cut other people off before, and you don't like what you see you don't like your own behavior, and it's that mirrored perspective. And when you realize that is that, and it's not always with the people cutting you off in traffic. Sometimes it's other things, but it's when you realize that it's our own stuff that we need to understand first, and that when we go inward and realize what the world is mirroring to our painting, and that we realize what's in the painting with us and what we really are, then you can realize you take the way I describe it is taking responsibility for your own shit.
Mm.
When you can actually take responsibility for your own stuff, and it's not easy, because usually it means looking back and seeing something you don't like, looking into your own painting and seeing something you don't like about yourself. But when you realize that it is your own stuff, and you can take responsibility for it and go, ooh, I just did that to my friend Ollie, and I don't like that. I don't like it when other people do it to me. I just did that to my friend, and I don't like that. When you realize that, and then you go inward and do that journey of, why did I do it? How can I do it differently? How can I change? Then it's that journey of change and transformation, not only to change yourself and to do things differently, but what would it do then to that relationship with my friend Ollie if I tell my friend Ollie, I am so sorry that I did this. I realize I don't like it when people do that to me, and I did that to you, and I apologize. Or as the Hawaiian folks do it, and in its beautiful ceremony, and I just saw my book this morning about this, Ho'oponopono. I've got a book in the other room, and I just came across it this morning. If you
Yeah, I
haven't
know.
heard of Ho'oponopono,
Of
look
course.
it up.
Yeah.
I'll actually put a thing in the chat about Ho'oponopono, because it's that important that we all learn
Yeah.
it.
I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. In the
Yeah.
disorder.
So it's a process of, and it's a forgiveness ceremony, and
Mm.
so to me that hits several places to me. One, as a Native person, seeing other Native people, that they take these things that they're so important that we put them in ceremony, and that it's a process where you not only forgive the other person for something, but also forgiving of self. It's forgiving of
Yes.
self, asking forgiveness of the other person, giving them forgiveness. It's all the way around. And it's a way to have a fresh slate all the time with people. And it's not done just, oh, I'm sorry. Mm-mm. No, 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 no. It is very intentional,
Mm.
very much thoughtful, very much bringing your senses and your physicality into it. And I think, like last month's word was integrity, and how we talked about being all in. It's like being all in a in forgiveness. It's being all in that
Mm.
forgiveness, both with what did you do, what the other person might have done, what
Yeah.
happened between you, and
And I have a great metaphor for that.
yeah.
That someone once in your life gave you a poison, but also in perspective, a poison could be a cure. Depends on the quantity. So the person can
Mm,
probably think the person is giving you a cure, but it's poison for you. That's the first aspect. but then this person gave it to you once, and by not forgiving the person and by not forgiving yourself, you are constantly swallowing the same poison again and again and again and again and again.
Mm, that one's deep, Ollie. That one's deep. So, yeah, so I think we've kind of brought it back around to the values of, like, and I think one value, I've said talked about this before, and I talked about the reason that integrity was the word last month is that is my highest word. If people talk about words of the year, they talk about, to me, I talk about like what is my core? My core word is
Mm,
integrity, and it has multiple meanings. It has lots of things under it. It's not just that one word. But and everybody has their own words, and I love that because I love finding out like what's that person's one word, and how do they encapsulate it, because they're going to encapsulate it different than I am. Like even if their
mm,
words the same, and how do they encapsulate it, and learning how our similarities and differences, because we, as humans, one, we start with one similarity that we all have is that we're all human beings,
mm,
straight up, right? But then the other similarities of, we do share similar values. No matter what our opinions and beliefs are, our values are frequently this, there's values that we have that are the same. And
mm,
so when we can get back to that core and realize our similarities, then we can examine our own beliefs and opinions and see how they're structured, and sometimes question them, but at
mm.
least understand them deeper. And we can respect, as long as we can respect, understand, and believe, or understand and understand others' ways they put the building blocks together in their beliefs and opinions,
Yeah,
get somewhere. We step up that next level towards understanding each other as different human beings, because
yeah.
there's 8.2 billion
Mm.
different ones of us.
And I
Every
have a deep and I have a deep reflection on that because I was thinking about you might know maybe the scarf model, because each of us have different values. So there is status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. These are five umbrellas probably, but I might have one or two or three of them on different orders, and you two different. So it's also important to know ours and to know each other's value. But
oh,
also, I was reflecting also, um, maybe my value, well, maybe someone or my value comes from pain. Like I was
mm,
having myself, or I was seeing outside something that caused me pain, and from that particular moment, I say, "This is my value. I will not let anyone da 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 again."
so you know what you don't want in life. Yeah, it's our values can come from what we want, and it can come from what we don't want. And that actually also, I think, goes into, that's where you take values and you work into the world of boundaries, because I think it's, you have to understand and define your values, your beliefs, your opinions, your thoughts, and your feelings before you can then figure out what your boundaries are. And then
Mm-hmm.
what you figure out your boundaries are of what you will and won't accept. When I work with clients, I call it your go and no go list.
Mm-hmm.
When you figure out what your go and no go lists are, then you can start crafting yourself and your world to where you fit better in what your go and no go lists are. Like my no go list may include people who aren't all in. I'm not necessarily going to associate with myself with them as freely if they're not all in when they do things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's because I value myself, that when I say, "Ollie, I will call you tomorrow," that I am going to follow through on calling you tomorrow, right? To
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm all in with what I say. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, obviously, unless like you get sick or this or that. Things do happen, and that's what forgiveness is there for, but it's not for just, oh, well, oops, I forgot. No. When I say I'm going to do something, I as much as humanly possible, I put myself in. I'm all in. And I appreciate being around other people who are also that way. Now, does that mean I'm going to never be around people who aren't all in? No. But
Yeah,
they
and
get
it
pulled in
depends what
different
is your
concentric
definition.
circles of Stacy,
And
right?
it depends what is your definition of being all in, because it might be
Mhm.
your definition that is yours, but maybe someone else would think, oh, I'm all in signifies this. So maybe also
Absolutely. A
having our own definition, that means also that you need for you for clarity, you talk about to others.
th
What does it mean for you to be all in?
Exactly. You've gotta have the communication with it. And, what is that not so perfect that I have the language enthusiast sitting in the seat in here with me and show me your nuts today? Because language, our language we use, and, those who, like, are brilliant enough to know multiple languages, because I have one that I speak and know, and the others I kinda know little bits. Um, but that language and communication are imperative to understanding and respecting each other. And so I value those who communicate also. So communication is another thing you can value, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
and non communication is a message. Non communication is also communication.
oh,
I've heard like
absolutely, yeah.
we cannot
Communication
not
is not
communicate.
just verbal words coming out. It's when you are silent, that's also a communication.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And I think just because so for example, if someone doesn't hear from me for a month, that doesn't mean I don't value them. That means I haven't been able to, for whatever reason, communicate with them through the month. Now, does that mean I don't value the communication between myself and that person? That's not true either, right? What it means is, life happens, right? And I'm going to circle us back around to those cards, because I'm not a card sender in general. I don't pick birthday cards out and Christmas cards out and this and that. Like, I'm not the one that, like, is able to pick out really good ones. My husband's damn good at it. He's really good. My mother-in-law's good at it. I've got people around me who are really good at picking out really fun, perfect cards for individuals for things. And I think that's a really cool thing. I'm not good at it. But I think we can value the other person in the communication, even if we're not able to do it all the time, because life happens. And I think it makes so because I'm not a card sender, those who are getting ready to receive these cards I'm getting ready to send, hopefully they know that what it took for me to send a card out meant even more, because I went through all the things like that I don't like doing, like going to the post office, like
Mm.
uh taking the time, or it's not that I don't like taking the time to find a card. It's just I don't always find cards. Like, I'm not finding individual cards. I found a box of cards that everybody's getting the same card.
Mhm.
It's going to have different words in it because they're blank cards and I'm going to write the words. But, like, I think it's like, if I got a card, well, I got a card not long ago from somebody who lives in Kansas City named Sang, and it was a
Ah,
surprise, and it was so precious to have, and I have the card, is that she took the time to think of me, and then I figured out that, like, that was something that she loved. And so, yeah, is I think we figure out what is valuable to each of us. And then we go from there. I do have another question in the audience. I love this. Aren't values based on beliefs, not the other way around? No,
mm.
Values are the building blocks of beliefs. Our values are how we build our beliefs. Those are the building blocks of the beliefs and of the opinions. So actually values are building blocks of beliefs. Beliefs are building blocks of opinions. And
Hmm.
values, beliefs, and opinions are not the same thing. Absolutely not the same thing. Um, Now, I'd love to hear from the audience of, like you're saying it's the other way around. I'm not sure how it could be the other way around because our the thing that we value is core to our it causes is core to our programming. And by programming I mean that our unconscious mind programming. Oh, and how do you decide what's valuable? That's a good one. Well,
Oh.
uh, we do decide. I love where you're going with this because I do think that I think we decide what's valuable is our programming gives us that. We find out what's valuable through and then we're going into some weeds and I'm going to try and we don't have enough time in the show to go that far deep in them entirely. But we decide what's valuable um based on our unconscious mind programming, which is generally between 0 and 6 or 7 years old. And
Hmm.
so it's not so much a decision as a programmed situation. Now, we do change those later, and we change them later
Hmm.
based on our experiences and based on a choice of what is valuable to us. But I
Hmm.
don't know that I wouldn't say that it's I'm going to still say that beliefs are things like I believe that that hard work is only when you work 100 hours a week. Well, that may be true for my belief, but may not be true for somebody else's. And
Hmm.
we might both share the value of hard work, but our belief about hard work is different. And so
Hmm.
that's why I say it's built the beliefs are built on building blocks of values. That's why I say that.
Yeah, and I truly believe also there is really a huge part, especially when we are children, babies and children, about emotions, because it's our emotions that are like emotions are from the heart. And so I truly believe that when we study neuroscience and the brain, we should also embark the heart and the gut and the
Mhm.
emotions when we are I truly believe that emotions are a big part when we are having joy or pain or disgust
Well,
or
and
that. Yeah,
neurology is not just the brain either.
that's it,
Neurology, we have
that's
nerves
it.
in all of our body,
That's
including our
it, yeah,
gut
and the
and our
nervous
heart.
system also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And I'm curious on just is that it could go either way, but I think the perspective I'm bringing it from, it's building blocks based on how we build how our unconscious mind works and on how and maybe also it's actually from how the timeline therapy that we were talking, that we alluded to earlier, how that functions. And so I'm not going to dispute or say, oh, it couldn't go the other way. That's ridiculous for me to do because I'm I'm just a human being and I'm coming from the Stacy squirrel perspective and that's all. So I'm not going to say that that's wrong because I that's just silliness for me. But I'll say that from the perspective of how our unconscious mind builds and runs 95% of our life, I'll say that. If something was not valuable, why would it exist? But valuable according to who? And value according to who? And it's our only beliefs that something is valuable and something is not. Um, I'll I love that question, and I'm gonna have to ponder it, and I'm gonna have to look at like what from the perspective again, from the perspective of how timeline works and how our unconscious mind how our unconscious mind runs our world. I'll say that that's the perspective I'm bringing to it. But I'm going to have to ponder the if something was not valuable, why would it well, I would say why would I wouldn't use the word exist because 8.2 billion of us on the planet
Yeah.
and existence of anything is based on our internal representation of the world. So there's
Mhm.
8.2 billion different ways of looking at the world. And so there's 8.2 billion different ways that something could exist. So the fact that we all create reality by that alone means that I cannot define what anyone else describes as what exists and what doesn't exist. And
Mm.
so in that I'll say the perspective you hear coming out of this mouth is only squirrel wrangler, and that's the only one it can be. And that what I'm hearing from you, Chemical Soup TV, what I'm hearing from Jessica, what Ollie says, what saying, we those are all of those are valid. Every one of our perspectives is absolutely valid, true, and real. So I'm not I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying that it's wrong. What I will say though is what you've said here is going to make the Stacy one go, "Oh, how am I going to change my representation of the world, or how does this change my representation of the world?" I'll say that if the exist, that's not going to change my representation of the world because everything exists. So
Mm.
there's not a why would
Because
it
it's not in my control. For
well,
instance,
it exists because
it
I say that exists, and it exists because Ollie says it exists. It exists because
yeah.
Chemical Soup
But
TV says it exists.
for instance,
Everything exists.
that there are values that are not in my control, like destruction, domination of other lands, is not in my value, but it exists because someone has the ball enough to
Because it
do that.
exists in someone else's
That's
choices,
it.
decisions, and behaviors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things exist because we all create the existence. We create existence, and therefore that's why it exists. Now, the beliefs that okay, it's only it is only our belief that something is valuable and something is not. I don't know that that existence is because of the value, that one's one that's the part I'm going to think on. I love that. And I would love to know who is behind Chemical Soup TV because I would
Yeah.
like to know who you are. I love what you've brought to this
I
show
love
this
your soup.
morning. And
I love your soup.
if there's a way to send me a private message, if you want to, if you're not wanting to, I'd love to know. For one, if you are someone I already know, thank you for bringing the
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 soup.
brain food this morning. And if you're somebody I don't know, thank you for bringing the brain food. I love what you've brought, and I'm so glad that
This is
you know,
super.
for one, somebody from Twitch. I don't I'd love to know who it is, and if there's a way for you to send me a private message or look me up over. Um, I am sure. No, I am sure I am far from you. I just love your questions. I love your questions, and I'd love to know. I'd love to know more about you as a person because you've made me think. And when people make me think, I enjoy getting in discussions with them, and I've enjoyed your input this morning. So whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, Chemical Soup TV, thank you for being here. Thank
Yeah.
you for being here. I really appreciate it. Ollie, thank you for coming into the studio this morning and hanging out.
With
Um,
joy. Always.
I those, and so since we're going into the word thank you here, um, you know, and being in the US and it's time for Thanksgiving this week, aside the, you know, how the holiday exists, I'll still say that any holiday that we take a break from our day to day whatevers and spend time with each other and enjoy each other's company and enjoy good food, good fellowship, good love, good laughs, good times is valuable no matter what the origin of the thing is. I do absolutely, that's a belief of mine. And I, um, it's going to force me to rest on Thursday. And
Mm.
the only time I rest is when I force myself or when Jessica sends me um, the video for Relax by Wham. Those are the only times I
Oh.
relax. Um, and it's definitely up to us to give meaning to the holidays. I
And
think
food
it's
for
up to us
thought.
to give meaning to anything, right?
Food for thought. There is a last word that is breakfast, because breakfast is something that we enjoy on the morning, but fast could mean different things. Fast could be
Mm.
quick, and fast could be stop eating. That breakfast means to break the
Fast can be
fast.
quick, and it can be halt,
Yeah,
can be stop and not do. Not do. So it can be
yeah,
moving quickly, or it could be not doing things.
yeah.
Ooh, Ollie bringing the words as usual.
Always with light, because light means the light. It could be also something that is really light, like the feather.
um Ollie, I think you should have well, I know you have programs, and I'd like for you to put in the chat, go ahead and put things where people can find you and find out more about language, because I know you have programs and things. Put your
Yeah,
Luma calendar so people can follow you and find out
I will
where to find
re-French
out
your
more,
brain.
and they can
I will
find out how
re.
to refrench their brain, or
Yeah, that's
other
it.
other language, uh, just learning language pieces. I'm gonna look
Yeah,
at the comments one more time as you guys get me. Um,
we are nuts today.
oh, there's stuff going on over there in the comments about
Oh yeah.
humans and trees, and values of trees, and whether trees should be put up for Christmas. And yeah, here we go again. Um, here we go
Oh,
again.
oh,
Everyone in the
oh, oh.
US have an amazing Thanksgiving week. Everybody around the world have an amazing, get ready for your holidays. And let's get ready for next month, because next month we're diving into the word belief. So we're
Mm.
going to go from values, those building blocks, to how do we put the building blocks together into beliefs? And who knows where we're going to land after today? Who knows where we'll land? So I will see you guys next week. And Ollie, thank you again. Or I'll say
Bye.
merci.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. See you guys next week. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you've been brought value today.
Thank you for joining us on this nutty adventure. Remember, personal growth and wellness are journeys best taken together. Keep exploring, keep growing, and don't forget to show me your nuts next time.